What's going on, NBA fanatics? This is your friendly neighborhood Memphis Grizzlies homer, Memphis X, and I Talk Hoops. Today, we are talking about Tyus Jones and his excellence. But first, every hero needs their theme music.
Piano.
Grizz gang, go hard. Baddest in the game, we be on one. I talk hoops, so secure. All up on the court, but we gon' score. Memphis bringing heat straight from Tennessee. Ja Morant spiking, let's go.
So I went back and forth all season about bringing Tyus Jones back. I really thought that Tyus Jones was going to have a bigger market as far as, other teams wanting him. And then some things happened in the marketplace where other teams kind of filled their position. I thought the Wizards or the Knicks would be the main offerings for him, and they fill their point guard positions other ways. And I think it came down to the fact that Tyus Jones is one of those guys. He would be a very capable starter at point guard. Especially for a team full of good other scorers. I thought Boston would be a good place for him. Obviously, the Lakers would be a good place for him, but they didn't have any way to get him. So teams like that with other good scorers, I thought the Clippers would be a good place for him. Of course, they went with John Wall. So it seems like nobody wanted to invest in Tyus Jones as their starting point guard position this year. So the Grizzlies were left in a great position of being able to bring back Tyus Jones on a 2-year deal worth $29 million, $15 million this season, $14 million next season. And it looks like it's going to be probably the biggest move. Well, it has been the biggest move the Grizzlies have made this offseason, bringing him back. Of course, they let Kyle Anderson go, and they let DeAnthony Melton go. So Tyus Jones is going to have even more responsibility as the backup point guard because he's going to be surrounded by a bunch of young players. It's going to be him, Brandon Clark, Zaire Williams, maybe Jitty, and then maybe X or whoever, it depends. And while Jaren Jackson is out, it's going to be probably a rookie going to be playing on the second team. So he's going to have a lot more responsibility. With DeAnthony Melton gone, he's probably going to get a lot more minutes beside Ja Morant. And although I did not like it the season before last, the Ja Morant, Tyus Jones pairing got a little bit better last season as far as production and not getting us killed defensively. I don't know if that was just because Jaren Jackson was on the court. I think was a big part of it. But the fact that you had Jaren Jackson and Brandon Clark was back to himself, and they added Steven Adams. That kind of led to the pairing of Ja Morant and Tyus Jones not getting killed. So Tyus Jones will probably be able to squeeze out some more minutes next to Ja Morant, and Ja Morant usually plays better off the ball for a little short periods of time, even though he's great on the ball also. So the biggest thing about this return was it gives the Grizzlies another season of Ja Morant protection. It is the $15 million insurance policy, and it allows them to not have to run Ja Morant ragged during the season and to give him a night off periodically during the season. And also gives them a chance to, limit his minutes another season to a degree. And the reason why I say this is not because of the injury risk or anything like that, even though that's part of it, but it gives the Grizzlies another season of semi-low minutes with Ja Morant and gives him maybe next offseason, another offseason to build up his body again to be able to, withstand the rigors of a 82-game season plus a long playoff run. You have to remember, with young players, it is very, very difficult at the beginning of the season to judge what kind of condition they have to be in at the end of the season to make it through a finals run. Jason Tatum found that out the hard way, where he was literally gassed when they got to the finals. And a part of that problem last season for Jason Tatum, was that the NBA has been on these back-to-back seasons with very little rest, compacted games in some areas, and the Boston Celtics playoff run did not help Jason Tatum at all, where they did not get any rest at all during the first 3 series of the playoffs, and he was just done by the time the playoffs got there. So it's the same thing that happened to Kobe Bryant. If you listen to some of Kobe Bryant's motivational speeches, you'll hear him talk about how his first playoff run, by the time they got to the finals, I think it was a Western Conference Finals, he was gassed against Utah, where he was shooting the infamous air balls. He didn't have his legs up under him. So that gives Ja Morant another season to build up his body. Also, the Grizzlies drafted Kennedy Chandler in the second round and signed him to a 4-year deal. This 2-year contract by Tyus Jones gives Kennedy Chandler a long runway to get prepared to be the backup point guard of the future. And what's great about it is he is undersized like Tyus Jones, and he has a similar game, even though his game is more dependent on speed, quickness, but he does have the game sort of similar to Tyus Jones. And Kennedy Chandler projects to be more of a better defensive player than Tyus, but less of a sure and steady ball handler. But the Grizzlies getting another season of having 48 minutes of great point guard play is a bonus and is very underrated. Now, the final thing, as you saw on the thumbnail, Tyus Jones as trade bait. Either this season or more likely next season at the trade deadline, Tyus Jones will probably be traded. I can't see them bringing him back for a third contract. I think the expenses are going to be too crazy by then, and I expected him to have Kennedy Chandler already ready to go by his third season in the league. So I think if Kennedy Chandler can get up to speed, going into next season, Tyus Jones might get traded in the offseason. But more than likely, Kennedy Chandler is going to be given at least until the trade deadline. And that he will be given that room. But also remember, the Grizzlies are very, very comfortable using Desmond Bane as the backup point guard in crucial situations. So even if Kennedy Chandler is not 100% ready for playoff ball, the Grizzlies will probably have their team set up to be able to take advantage of having Desmond Bane at backup point guard in playoff situations until Kennedy Chandler is ready the next season, where he'll be able to get have a prominent role as the backup point guard and get himself up to speed for the playoffs. So Tyus Jones being back, kind of expensive for a backup point guard, but it's good for the Grizzlies, and I'm happy that they have him back because it gives the rest of the Grizzlies fans, like it gives me, some comfort to know that if anything should happen to Ja, or something like that, that we have a capable point guard that can start game, and it also gives us a good team leader on the second unit. Tyus Jones is probably I wouldn't call him just a primary backup point guard. He is more of a low-level starting point guard. And him being our backup, even if at $15 million, the Grizzlies are not even close to the hard cap or anything like that. So it's play money for real at this point. So him being back at $15 million is good for the Grizzlies. I'm not sure if there's another better way I would like them to spend their money this offseason. I'm happy with that. And we'll see how it goes. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this video, and let me know what you think about Tyus Jones being back in the fold for the Grizzlies. Are you happy about it? Did you want the Grizzlies to go another direction as far as backup point guard? Or did you want the Grizzlies to use their flexibility this offseason in a different way. Let me know. Tomorrow we got another video as we move probably into the starters as far as player reviews goes. And we got some good ones, some starters that I love. Peace.